What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka New York Prepper. In this video, I'm going to do a penetration test with some sandbags. And being a prepper, I always wondered how effective sandbags are at stopping bullets. And in this video, I'm going to try to shed some light on that. I'm going to be shooting at these sandbags with my 300 Winchester Magnum. And we're going to see if we can't penetrate through these sandbags with my 300 Winchester Magnum. Now, we're going to be shooting at a distance of 50 yards. Those benches down there are 50 yards away, so we're fairly close. And I'm going to use a variety of different loads and different bullets to see if we can't punch through this sandbag here, okay? Now, this sandbag is 12 inches wide by 18 inches long. All right, so let me show you, just so you guys are aware. We got 18 inches long, and we got about 12 inches wide at its widest point, okay? About 12 inches, maybe 10 or 11, okay? Just so you guys are aware. And we're going to be shooting at the front of the sandbag right here, okay? And we're going to see if we can't penetrate through the sandbag this way, okay? Because this is the way that you would stack up sandbags after SHTF to protect your home and protect your family from stray bullets and from small arms fire. All right, so we're going to shoot at these sandbags from 50 yards away with the 300 Winchester Magnum. I got my camera set up over here, and we got the camera facing at the back side of the sandbags so we could see if any bullets pass through or not. I have a couple of different loads that I'm going to use. So let me just go and show you guys what kind of ammo I'm going to use. All right, guys, so the gun I'm going to be using to shoot at these sandbags is my Ruger M77 Hawkeye Alaskan chambered in 300 Winchester Magnum. And we're going to use a variety of different bullets. The first bullet we're going to shoot is this 180 grain solid copper bullet with a flat nose. I've done tests with this bullet before. This bullet's made by Cutting Edge Solids. You can buy these bullets and hand load them if you wish. This is a 180 grain solid copper bullet that's machined, and it's got a flat nose. It's designed for penetration, and I've shot this bullet through 15 2x10s, Douglas fir 2x10s, and I'll actually attach a link at the top of the screen if you guys want to watch that video. But this bullet here went through 15 2x10s, and if you do the math, you know, you're looking at almost 2 feet of wood, okay? And this particular round here is loaded by choice ammunition, and the velocity on this is 3,100 feet per second, okay? And this is a solid copper bullet. I think if anything is going to penetrate that sandbag, it's going to be this bullet right here. All right? We're also going to test out this Buffalo Bore 180 grain tipped triple shock X bullet. This is a solid copper hollow point with a blue ballistic tip on the end for better ballistics. And the velocity on this one is also 3,100 feet per second, okay? This one is also highly likely to pass through the sandbag of any rounds that I own because it's a solid copper bullet, just like the flat nose. And if these don't go through the sandbag, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some cheap Federal and Winchester ammo that I have. The one on the right here is 180 grain Federal Power Shock, okay? Federal Power Shock. It's a 180 grain Spear Hot Core Soft Point. All right, and we'll put a couple of rounds of this into the sandbags to see if not only can the sandbags hold up to 1 or 2 shots, but how well the sandbags hold up to multiple shots, okay? Because if you're in a situation after SHTF where you get into a gunfight and somebody's shooting at your position and you have a sandbagged position, they're going to be unloading a lot of rounds at your sandbags. So we're going to shoot at least 5 rounds of this bullet here to see if we can't penetrate with volume, okay? And then finally, we're going to shoot some of this Winchester Deer Season Extreme Point. This is a 150 grain bullet, and it's traveling at 3,260 feet per second, okay? So we're going to see if this bullet can't penetrate as well with the super high velocity, all right? So let's get started and see what happens. All right, guys, so we're going to shoot this 180 grain cutting edge solid from Choice Ammunition at the Sandbags. Let's see what happens here. All right, let's go check it out. All right, guys, looks like we had a perfect hit right here in the middle of the bottom sandbag. Right here in the middle, you can see this little hole here in the bag, and it's kind of warm, actually. It feels kind of warm, but that's where the bullet went in. And I don't see any exit hole here at all. It looks clean. So it looks like we were not able to penetrate this 10 to 12 inch wide sandbag with the 300 Win Mag flat nose solid traveling at over 3,000 feet per second. So if this sandbag can stop a 300 Win Mag, it's going to be able to stop a 223, a 308, a 7.62 by 39, a 30-06. It'll stop pretty much anything below a 300 Win Mag at least. And I bet my money that this can stop 338 rounds as well. I don't know if it'll stop a 338 Lapua, but if anybody has a 338 Lapua that they want to lend to me and we could do this test, let me know. But I'm also going to repeat this test with my 416 Ruger Elephant gun. And that gun is in a custom shop right now. It's getting some night sights made for it. But when the 416 comes back from the shop, I'm going to repeat this test with the 416 and see if that can't pass through the sandbag here. And that 416 Ruger penetrated through 26 2x10s, and that's about 3 feet of wood, and I shot through a 2-foot white oak log with that cartridge. But so far, 300 Win Mag has not been able to penetrate through the sandbag, okay? So these sandbags are very cheap. You can buy them for $5, and you could use these sandbags as a fortification after SHTF, okay? I've talked about it in my videos, and you don't have to buy these particular sandbags. What you can do is you can go to Uline. Uline is an industrial supplier, and at Uline you could buy sandbags for 50 cents a piece. They're empty sandbags. And all you do after SHTF is you get a shovel and you fill your bag up with dirt from your backyard, and you stack your bags up in a fortified position in your house and you could sleep behind those sandbags. So this way you don't get hit by stray bullets at night, and you could bring your wife and kids into that fortified position, and you guys can sleep there at night, and you could fortify parts of your house with these sandbags, and they'll be able to stop most rounds. Okay, a 50 caliber or a 416 Ruger, it might not. I'm pretty sure a 50 cal would blow through this, but most 30 caliber and under rounds, this is going to work for that. Okay, most small arms. So I'm going to continue shooting at these sandbags with some of the other rounds that I have, and we're going to see if we can't penetrate. So stay tuned. All right, guys, so now we're going to try out the Buffalo Bore Tipped Triple Shock X. This is a 180 grain solid copper bullet, and it's traveling at 3,100 feet per second. Let's see if we can't get through the sandbag with this. I don't think we will, but let's give it a try anyway. If the flat nose didn't go through, I don't think this one will go through because this is a hollow point. But let's see what happens. All right, let's go check it out. All right, guys, so here was our shot with the Buffalo Bore 180 grain tipped triple shock X. Look at this little tiny hole, and look at the comparison in hole size between the tipped triple shock X and the flat nose. Look at the flat nose, how it ripped apart and left this huge entrance hole, and look at the tipped triple shock X, how it left a teeny weeny hole. Okay, and that's the difference between a flat nose and a very high BC bullet. Is the flat noses, they create a lot more damage because they have a flat nose. So when they hit something, it's just like your fist, you know, it just has a massive energy dump with that flat nose. It's like a sledgehammer, and you can see that flat nose bullet just made this huge entrance hole here. But the Tipped Triple Shock X, which is a high BC bullet, the G7 ballistic coefficient is over 0.5. And look at this tiny little hole that it left there. But so far, no pass through at all on the back side. So I'm going to take a few more shots now with the Federal Power Shock and the Winchester Deer Season, and we're going to see if we can't somehow penetrate this bag. But I don't think we will. I'm going to take a few shots, but I don't think it's going to do anything. Alright guys, so we're going to use some of these Federal Power Shocks. These are Spear Hot Core Soft Points, 180 grain. But before I do that, I want to just take one more shot with the Choice Ammunition 180 grain flat nose. I'm going to take one more with this, and we're going to take a few with the soft points and see what happens here. And what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to shoot in the same location that I shot the other rounds into, to see if we can't somehow affect the integrity of the bag and try to soften up the bag so sand leaks out. And maybe once a little bit of sand starts to leak out, we can punch through. So I'm going to shoot into the same area. So first shot, Choice Ammunition, 180 grain. Alright guys, let's go see what happened. Alright guys, so I just took 3 more shots at the sandbags. We've already shot the sandbags 5 times already, and still no pass through on the sandbags at all. Okay, I've been aiming at the bottom sandbag and there's no pass through whatsoever. Okay, you can see that the sandbag is 100% still intact. And I'm going to see if I can't find the bullets in this sandbag here. And I'm going to pull the bullets out once we're done shooting. But you can see there's no pass through whatsoever. Everything is fine. You would be 100% safe if you were behind these sandbags. Now, coming around to the front, I just want to show you some of the bullet holes here. So here was the second shot that I took with the choice ammunition, 180 grain flat nose solid. And you can see it left that huge entrance hole here, okay, just like the first shot here. Okay, you can see the difference between the flat nose and the traditional pointed tip. Okay, and look at this massive hole that it left in the bag. And I would imagine that if I shot this bag enough with these flat nose solids, eventually the bag would rip apart and sand would start to pour out of it. Okay, but I'm not going to do that today because the ammunition is very expensive. It's $75 a box of 20, and you know, with the ammunition shortage, I can't afford to be wasting ammo. But I would imagine if I had a lot more rounds to burn and we weren't in an ammo shortage, I could shoot basically a line between these two and connect these two together. I could take 1, 2, 3, 4 more shots, and I could rip this bag open and the sand would start to pour out, and that could potentially allow me to penetrate through the sand. But again, that's a big if, you know. And so here we have one of the holes from the Winchester Power Shock. All right, here's another hole from the Winchester Power Shock, and here's another hole from the Winchester Power Shock. Okay, so we've taken 5 shots already. We took 2 with the choice ammo, 180 grain solid flat nose. We took 1 with the tipped triple shock X. We took 2 with the Federal Power Shock. Okay, 1 here, 1 here. And we're going to take a few more shots. This time we're going to use the Winchester Deer Season. And we're going to see if we can't somehow penetrate this sandbag. But I don't think it's going to happen. But I'll take 2 or 3 more shots with that ammo. And that'll be the end of the test. And then I'm going to see if I can't find the bullets in this sandbag. I'm going to pull this sandbag out and try to get the bullets out of the sand. So stay tuned for that. All right, guys. So now we're going to shoot these Winchester Deer Season 150 grain extreme points at the sandbags. These are traveling at 3,200 feet per second approximately. So let's see what happens here. All right, guys, let's go see what happened. Wow, this is really interesting, guys. So those Winchester deer season bullets ripped apart these huge holes in the sandbag. Look at that, guys. I only took 2 shots. I took one on the left and one on the right, and it totally just ripped apart the sandbag. Look at this huge hole. Look at this big hole here, okay? Very, very interesting. So it seems like if you're trying to shoot at sandbags, it seems like the way to go is lighter bullets with higher velocity, because those lighter bullets with higher velocity, when they hit the sandbag, they're going to blow apart the sandbag due to the extreme velocity. When they expand, okay, they're going to blow apart the sandbag and the sand is going to start to leak out. And if I take one more shot right here, I guarantee you all the sand is going to leak out of this bag. And once the sand starts to leak out, it's possible that it may penetrate if I continue to shoot through the broken sandbag. So I'm going to take a couple more shots and let's see what happens. All right, guys, we're going to take 2 more shots with the Winchester deer season 150 grain. And we're going to see if we can't blow apart the sandbag and get some of the sand to leak out. And once that sand starts to leak out, maybe then we can penetrate through. But I don't think we will. All right, guys, let's go see what happened. All right, guys, I just took 2 more shots with the Winchester 150 grain extreme point deer season bullet, and you can see no pass through on the sandbag. But what I want to do is I want to show you the front of the sandbag, and look at how those 150 grain bullets just completely destroyed the bag. And you know, the destruction of the bag is helping to leak out a lot of the sand. So I would imagine if I wanted to, I could probably shoot, let's say, another 10 or 20 rounds into this bag, and eventually the bag would come apart and the sand would start to leak out, okay? And maybe then I could possibly penetrate this bag. But even then, I have this bag on the top of it. So if the sand starts to leak out of this bag on top is going to start to settle down on top. So even if I were to keep shooting at this particular bag and rip apart the whole bag here with those 150 grain bullets, and you can see there's a lot of sand already leaking out of it. Even if I were to continue shooting at this bag, I have this bag on top, and this bag on top would start to settle down and settle on top of the bottom bag, and that would continue to provide protection. Okay, that's why sandbags have been used for over 100 years in war to protect soldiers from small arms fire, because they work, they're cheap and easy, and if they can work for soldiers, they can work for preppers, okay? So look at all this sand here, guys, that leaked out of the bag. You can see this good amount of sand here, okay? And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to lift up this one bag. Looks like we hit one of the bags here, okay? One of the bags is leaking out, but look at this gigantic hole here in the bag. Look at this giant hole that those 150 grain bullets did. Now look at this giant hole here, guys. Look at these holes from those 150 grain bullets. So it seems to me like if you're trying to take apart a sandbag wall, you should be shooting at the sandbag wall with high velocity, lightweight bullets that are going to explode on impact. And when they explode on impact, what that's going to do is it's going to rip apart the sandbag and allow for the sand to leak out, okay? So that seems to be the best way to penetrate a sandbag. But this is a 300 Win Mag, guys, okay? If this can stop a 300 Win Mag, it can stop a lot of rounds, okay? It could stop a 30-06, a 270, a 7mm Rem Mag, you know, anything you can imagine, this sandbag will probably work, okay? Now, if you start to get into the 50 cals and the elephant guns and some of the more exotic sniper cartridges like 338 Lapua and up, it may potentially not work against those. But I reckon that this sandbag would work against a 338 Lapua. And again, I'm going to be testing this type of sandbag again with my 416 Ruger elephant gun, and we're going to see if the 416 Ruger elephant gun can blow apart this sandbag and penetrate through the sandbag, okay? But as you can see, there's no pass-through here on the back of the sandbag, okay? You can see here, there's nothing on the back. Everything is clean. There's no hole. There's nothing, okay? Now, you can see this bag that was stacked on top. There's some holes in it here, okay? You can see this little hole there and a little hole there. I think what that was is that could have just been a little bit of shrapnel from the jacket, okay? That could have been the jacket of the bullet that shrapneled off and fragmented off and went into this bag, okay? But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to find the bullets inside of this sandbag. All right, guys, so I tried to find as many of the bullets as I could in the sand, but it was pretty difficult, actually. I was just kind of looking through the sand with my bare hands to see if I could find any bullets, and this is all I could find is just some of the copper jackets from some of those bullets. And you can see that a lot of these bullets just completely exploded once they hit the sand. And pretty sharp pieces of copper here. And here's another piece of copper. A little bit of lead on that still. But that's pretty much all I could find. Just these copper jackets here and fragments. This is all just copper. And then I found this one here. This was interesting. I think this might be the 180 grain cutting edge solid from Choice Ammunition. I can't really tell. I don't think it's the TTSX, because the TTSX, you would have seen pedals on it. But you could see on this one, it just looks like it was smushed. And I think this might be the cutting edge solid. So that's pretty impressive for a $5 sandbag to be able to stop Magnum rifle bullets. Look at this bullet here, completely flattened out. Look at how it got flattened out. It's pretty insane. So look at that. I'm pretty sure this is the cutting edge solid, because you could see the bands on the bottom there. Yeah, this is definitely that Choice Ammunition cutting edge solid, and it just got totally flattened out. Look at that. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. As you can see, sandbags are very effective at stopping Magnum rifle cartridges, and if they can stop a 300 Win Mag with some hot loads, it can stop pretty much anything you throw at it, you know, except maybe a 50 cal or a really super Magnum cartridge, like maybe 338 Lapua with armor piercing rounds, or 50 cal or 416 Ruger elephant guns, things like that. In that situation, the sandbags may not be as effective, but for most standard small arms that bad guys are going to have after SHTF, a simple $5 sandbag could save your life. And again, you don't have to buy sandbags in order to create fortifications for yourself after SHTF. All you have to do is just buy some empty sandbags from Uline, and they're 50 cents a piece, and stock up on some empty sandbags, and then when SHTF comes, just fill them up with dirt. You know, go into your backyard, grab a shovel and start filling up the sandbags with some dirt from your backyard, and you know, it could save your life. So I got many more penetration tests like this coming. My next test will be some body armor. I'm going to be testing level 3 and level 4 body armor with different types of rounds. So stay tuned for that. And as always, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 P's. Prepare, practice, and persevere.